Okay, this game was a boring draw. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked that recap. Oh, a snap. Right?
Recap really or something. Okay.
Again. Yeah. You didn't like my recap? I just did it. So this game was a boring draw. Now, tomorrow there's no game because it's a rest day. Thursday's a rest day.
That's true.
Those are good dogs.
I hate them. Just keep going.
I like them. Yeah. Okay, so they played a Petrov again, surprising most people because Jan needs to win a lot of games. So people thought maybe he would play the Sicilian. Although on the other hand, if he does play the Sicilian, Jan would normally play d6 to play a Najdorf, and then after here he has no winning chances. Okay, so Petrov, and then knight d3 was first suggested by the Beastie Boys because it's crafty. Okay, and unfortunately, crafty hasn't been good since the Beastie Boys were popular. So, okay, this is an unusual move. The idea is to put the knight on f4 instead of f3. Then knight d5 is winning, as in your favorite game, Zapata Anand. So now knight d5 would win, but it's not legal. So he played here, threatening knight d5. Hooray! Now, for the aforementioned game between Anand and Zapata, in this position, Anand played bishop f5 double question mark. Queen e2 and Anand resigned. He has a piece threatened. If he plays d5, d3 wins a piece. If he plays queen e7, we get to play knight d5 winning, threatening everything. And then if queen d8, we win the piece again. Okay, so instead, he didn't allow knight d5 winning. He played knight f6. Now the game is already looking like a draw because they're going to trade everything and it's boring. In this position, which obviously Magnus had prepared because he was playing relatively quickly, Jan played a move that we can't find in the chess.com database. And also, Magnus obviously didn't know it. Magnus thought forever after knight c6. Threatening knight takes d4. This is home preparation by Jan because he was playing quickly, and Magnus didn't know what to do. The engine wants to play bishop e3, but he played c3. And they just got into this endgame, and there wasn't a lot of play. Seemed like optically white was better, but, not really. So they traded queens, they traded e-pawns. The position is virtually symmetrical. And it seemed like in this particular game, neither player was very interested in winning. Nepo's like, I'm black against Magnus, so a draw is good. And Magnus is like, if I draw the next 3 games, I'm the world champion. That's also good. So nobody really seemed to be willing to take any risk. If Jan wanted to take risk, he would have played g5 here, which the engine likes. And then this position is considered equal, but this seems more double-edged than, you can play h6 or rook g8. And then the knight doesn't have a lot of good squares to go to. And then you could argue this is weakening f5. Anyway, the engine thinks black is doing fine here. And probably if Nepo was in a must-win, well, he probably wouldn't play the Petrov. You could argue this is a must-win. Because, if he keeps drawing, the match is over. But yeah, d5 and trading queens. The reason he played knight d8 is twofold. He wants to play c6 and have his d-pawn defended, and he wants to play knight e6 and trade more pieces. And all of that stuff did happen. They just kept trading. And it wasn't really a very interesting game because they just kept trading. There's a lot of trading. g5 is good because if black plays f5 and white plays g5, white has a nice positional advantage. This bishop isn't good. So he played g5 first, and then he played f5. And, okay, you could take the bishop and play this position, but the problem is, since you've played g4, the knight has the cozy f4 square to go to. Also, we could take with the rook and play rook here, attacking this, and then put the knight on f4. Seems like the knight's going to be better than the bishop, so he just retreated. And, this was just trading. And then in this position, let's get to the actual game. Yeah, in this position, after h6, Magnus ended the game here. he could still play for an advantage. If he was like playing me, he would, and he would probably win. But it's pretty drawn. Knight G3, King F6. There's just nothing for anybody to do. But he played F4, which ends the game, because now they trade all the kingside pawns. It just showed that he was just, let's draw a couple games and I'm world champion and, trash talk.
Yeah.
So they just traded everything. Always trade everything. If you take the knight, there's bishop G6 check. So he played bishop F5. Take. Now the rook is attacked. So you have to go here. And after takes, white's a pawn up temporarily. But after king here, forking these two, it's pretty temporary. And so they trade everything to this dead drawn position. And nothing happened. And finally, Magnus threatened checkmate. And that was diffused by rook f6 check. And then some. And this is move 41. The players aren't allowed to agree to a draw before move 40. They can repeat the position, but there wasn't really a natural way to do that. So for the last 15 moves of the game, both players knew it would be a draw, but not allowed to agree to a draw. So they played till move 41 and got this pretty drawn position. Spencer was hoping for knight e4, king d3. Then the position's completely symmetrical with the unusual fact that it's black's move here. So black has seized the initiative or something. But yeah, this is the final position. Nobody really had an advantage that game. And the way you know nobody has an advantage is when the engines say, this is equal, this is equal, this is equal, this is equal. If the engine says the number one move is equal and every other move loses, and that goes on for several moves, practically that person better play correctly, they're worse. And then if they play accurately, they'll draw. This game, neither player had to play accurately for the game to be a draw because Magnus played knight d3, queen e2, and made the game sort of boring. And, one way Magnus could win, if he's interested in winning games now, which he isn't, is make the game boring and Jan goes crazy. And if Jan doesn't go crazy and they have a trade fest and they vacuum the board, then Jan can't win the match. So, when you're white in a Petrov and you don't mind a draw, you're going to get a draw. Believe me, I know. I've had white in a lot of Petrovs against better players, and they don't beat me because I literally don't care. Now, figuratively, I do. So that was the most boring game of the match. A side note, FIDE has announced the World Rapid and Blitz in Kazakhstan at the end of the year has been canceled. So there's no World Rapid and Blitz. And Karen and I were going to go to that, so I guess we'll probably go to Vegas instead. Yeah.
Somebody else was saying that cancel wasn't the right word, but I don't know.
Yeah, postponed?
Postponed, maybe.
Yeah, anyway, they're not going to have it when they were supposed to have it.
Right.
So the truth hurts. Tomorrow's a rest day because the rest days are Monday and Thursday, and that will be the last rest day unless Nepo starts winning every game. So if Nepo gets 2.5 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then Monday will be a rest day. Or wait, is Sunday the last day of the match? This was game 10?
I think is the last.
Right, that's only 13. Yeah. So the match is very, 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 very likely going to end Saturday. And if Jan goes insane tomorrow or blunders and Magnus wins, not tomorrow, but Friday, the match is over. Magnus needs 1 point more. He needs 7.5 to win. Currently, he has 6.5. So he needs 1 point out of the next 4 games, and he wins. If Jan gets 4-0, then he wins the match. And if Jan gets 3.5 half, they go to a tie break. So that means Magnus is going to win the match.